Severe thunderstorms, flooding, and heat. We've got you covered here on Michael's Weather Channel, here to give you an update on the latest on what's going on out there in the weather community. Currently, we have a severe thunderstorm warning in effect for southwestern Georgia, as well as central North Carolina, that's near the Raleigh-Durham metro area right now. Louisiana under a severe thunderstorm warning, and these showers and thunderstorms continuing to be along the path as we get across the eastern coast of the United States there. As you can see there, we have the severe thunderstorm warnings along the I-95 corridor, and this whole entire area, as you can see there, as we explained in yesterday's video. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. All of those thunderstorms will be in effect across the east coast of the United States. Showers and thunderstorms, we need the rain, especially after this heat. And speaking of heat, we're going to have some more heat that is going to be underway, mainly parts of Florida, along the coast, up to Charleston, Myrtle Beach, things like that of that nature. Extreme heat watches are in effect for those areas right there, so we'll get into that into a little bit. But we're going to see right now with what the Storm Prediction Center has going on to see the outlook of today and tomorrow. We've got you covered here on Michael's Weather Channel. And don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Subscribe for more weather updates just like this one. And let's look at the Storm Prediction Center, what they have in store for us. Storm Prediction Center right now, as we have a slight risk that's going to be a part of the central part of the country, that's going to be in areas like Rapid City and things of that nature, as well as Billings, I believe that is. And as you have a marginal risk that's going to be in the eastern areas of the country and the southern areas of the country, as well as around that slight risk. So you have a marginal risk around Charlotte, Raleigh. We're seeing that with the severe thunderstorms right now. Thunderstorms, showers and thunderstorms all across the south, as we can see, all the way down to even Florida. That's what we're seeing right now with those showers and thunderstorms. A little bit of a marginal risk down there just south of Phoenix, Arizona. Now here's a look at your tornado risk for today. Going to be mainly along Pierre and Abilene. Not going to be a high tornado risk threat today. As far as your wind threat, we are going to have some wind that's going to be mainly along the northern section of the country, around Interstate 80, areas like that. We're going to have some problems there with some hail threat. We're going to have that dashed line that's going to be effect across that portion of the country. But as we get into our wind threat, that dash line is going to be in effect. You want to watch out for that wind threat there. As we get into the hail threat, same deal, just a smaller region around that area corridor right there. As you get south of Fargo, you have that 15% chance risk. And let's look at tomorrow. Tomorrow, your outlook is going to be having a slight risk across the central part of the country, areas of the Midwest. That's going to be that slight risk there. As you get your tornado outlook, we're going to be having not as a high tornado outlook. That'll be areas like Green Bay, Appleton, and things of that nature. So you need to be watching out for that. As we get into our wind threat, mainly going to be along the same line. And as we get into our hail threat is not going to be that high tomorrow. It's only going to be around 5%, so that's a good thing. We want to see less with the severe weather. As we get into our severe thunderstorm outlook for our day 3, this is going to be on our July 9th. As you can see there, that slight risk is going to be in the central part of the country there. In the probabilistic outlook, same deal with the wind threat, central part of the country there as well. So we're going to have a lot of rain, a lot of showers and thunderstorms. We're going to see what's going on with this GFS model here. And right now with the GFS model, you can already see those showers and thunderstorm activity as we're rolling on through. We're now rolling into Friday, more shower and thunderstorm activity. That low pressure seems to be moving across Pennsylvania and things like that. Also rain just lingering around there in the Gulf. As you can see there, as we continue towards our July 17th, we just continue to keep getting rain. That is going to be just, it's going to be a lot of... Could we potentially have any tropical systems that pop up between this time frame? Absolutely. So we do want to keep an eye on that, although we are expecting a below average hurricane season. We're still going to keep our eyes on it, because remember, just because we have a low chance of those hurricanes developing or a low end spot, and that's why we want to keep an eye out on this. European model, same deal. Some rain showers that will be impacting areas of the southeast and the southern areas of the United States, all the way from Texas to the Carolinas. You're going to continue to see that rain that's just going to be packing a punch there. So we went from all of these extreme hot temperatures. Remember, some of you guys are not leaving those extreme temperatures, and we'll get into that just in a second. But extreme temperatures, and now we're getting into that development of that rain, rain showers, thunderstorms. So we're sort of switching up the weather pattern here. We're going from a heat weather pattern to a wet weather pattern here, as we're getting showers and thunderstorms, the typical summertime deal here. As you can see, you see those reds, the oranges, and the greens on your map there. The European model has a better way of reflecting this. So we're sort of seeing right here that each little of those dots are really like heavy showers and thunderstorms of that nature. As you can see, those low pressures, those lows that continue to keep moving across the United States there. Heat risk, and as we've been talking about it, this heat risk is going to be mainly driven towards the southern parts of the United States, as you can see there, mainly along the I-85 corridor as we get there. So I-85 eastward, you're going to see that red line of heat as we get into the upcoming days. Florida, you're going to start seeing your heat. Everybody's had their extreme heat has moved towards the eastern sections. Florida, your turn's coming in next. Wednesday, we start to see the purples pop up significantly. We're starting to see the purples pop up in Florida. I'm going to zoom in here just on this east coast of the United States just so you can see. Right up from Myrtle Beach, near Wilmington, Jacksonville, Orlando, you're starting to see those purples popping, which is that extreme heat. We're getting even purple. Florida is just turning purple at this point for the whole northern section. As you can see into Sunday, purple areas there. And then Monday, by next week Monday, we're starting to back down, which is a good thing. We're starting to back down from this heat. Now, as far as the rest of the United States, purples are now moving in towards just west of Denver. So in the Utah area, Salt Lake City, near there, you're going to start seeing those purples in those higher elevations of the United States there as we get into those days. And I just want to make sure you look at that. So that's going to start. So really once the purple, it's like a transfer here. The purple moves away from the south, and then we give that purple away a little bit to the west. So it's just extreme heat's going to stick around for many of us. People are getting it in different ways. People are getting it at different times. And those extreme heat watches, they're in effect right now. I'm going to show you that from the National Weather Service, all of those hazards and things like that. But remember, make sure you have a way to stay safe, avoid heat stroke, heat exhaustion, things like that of that nature. So that's what we're really looking at. That's what we're examining. So like I said, today, right now, your outlook, heat, major heat along east of I-85. As we get into Wednesday, still east of I-85. See that purple popping up near Raleigh, Durham as you get there. And then into Thursday, we start to see those extreme heat that just pops. So that's why we're under that extreme heat watch for those areas right now into Friday. And then we get into Friday. I'm expecting those heat watches to be in effect as all the way as possible to maybe even central Florida into Orlando. I'm expecting those heat watches or warnings to pop up there because, as you can see, the purples are on the map as we get into the eastern Georgia area. And it's just purple is all over the place right now. Really just north of Miami metro areas, you can see the purples there. Miami's hanging on here, and Miami normally doesn't get that extreme heat, but you can see the purples popping up there just west of Miami into the Everglades area. Still in Miami-Dade County, but we're still seeing those purples pop up all the way up to Palm Beach, Cape Coral, into Naples. Do we get some down here for Key West? We're having major heat down there in Key West, so I don't want to leave you guys out there if you're out there in the Florida Keys. So major heat across the United States. We're finally building up that heat that's back into the western area of the United States. So you're starting to see the oranges and the reds, eventually going to be the purples, pop up on your map. So that's something to think about there. So we're going to look at this National Weather Service heat risk, see what's going on there. Well, the National Weather Service hazards, rather. See who's going to be under alerts and whatnot. All right, here's our hazards there. So we're looking right now on the map right now of the United States. We have those heat advisories that are in effect. I don't think they're showing here on the map, but I believe those were just extreme heat watches that were in effect for those coastal areas. So it's not showing it right now, but I think those are extreme heat watches that are there. It's probably not overlapping because the heat advisory is more significant in this situation. But as soon as we get the extreme heat warning, it's going to show something there. So we have the extreme heat watches that are in effect, heat advisories in the east, as you got a severe thunderstorm warning, Raleigh Metro. Extreme heat warnings are going to be in the west, as well as heat advisories in the Los Angeles metro area. I believe that's Los Angeles Metro. Flood watches in effect, flood advisories in effect for Virginia. As we get up north, those casual wind warnings in the northwest, red flag warnings. And then you have the flood watches that are continuing. Flood watches, flood advisories scattered across the eastern United States. The rain is not going to end here, folks. The rain is just now starting, and we're going to get that wet weather pattern. It's going to help with those dry conditions, help with that grass and things like that of that nature. But my name is Michael. I hope you had a wonderful Tuesday, and I'll see you out there in the weather community. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more updates like this. And I'll see you out there once more in the weather community.